All right. Thank y'all again for tuning in. Thank you for coming and seeing us, beautiful. So go ahead and tell us who you are and what it is that you do.
Okay, so my name is Khadija Romney. I am a pedagogue, strategist, and creative, and I help existing and emerging entrepreneurs build their brand, right? I help you take your purpose, gift, and talent and take it to the marketplace and monetize off of it. And so in the process of all of that, we're helping you scale and grow your business by creating physical and digital products.
Awesome. So what got you started doing that?
Branding or in business?
All of it. What got you started in doing your business and branding? Where did your inspiration come from?
I guess God, right?
Right. Always come first.
But I've always been an entrepreneur. I think that comes from us, like that's like some innate thing that happens on the inside of us when we're young. And then people start telling us to do things and then we get off course, right? I remember I was in middle school. I made these flyers and it was doing hair. Girl, I couldn't do hair. And it said, girl, we will hook you up. Couldn't hook nobody up. Printed them in schools and passed them around the neighborhood, right? And then I got away from that. I ended up going to college. I was a teacher. I taught for 7 years. I taught in Miami, New York, and here in Central Florida. And even through the process of teaching, I was still a hustler, right? I was doing nails, I was doing hair, I was doing mink lashes. We talk about all while being a teacher, right? Oh, and I remember just chasing the bag, always chasing the bag. And in 18, I had started chasing purpose. And I had transitioned from New York to Central Florida, and I was in a situation where I had to ask God to give me an open door, right? So I could get into this story, right? I have time. Okay, so I am a single mom, right? And at the time in 2018, well, we're on fast forward 2019 because now he's 1 year old. And on a teacher's salary, I couldn't afford everything, right? I had to pay for child. Did y'all know that healthcare for a kid is like $300 and some dollars? That's ridiculous, right? So I had to pay healthcare for my kid, healthcare for myself, my mortgage, my car, all on a teacher's salary. And so it came the time where my mom, like up until 1 year old, my mom could take, they're not that active, right? When they're infants and stuff like that. But now he's finna be 1 year old. He's finna, start walking, he moving around, and she's too old to deal with that. And so I remember asking God for an open door, and I'm like, God, I need you to open a door for me because I can't add daycare to my expenses that I already have. I can't afford it. Not as a single mom on this one salary, right? And even though I was still hustling at the time, it still wasn't enough, right? And so it came time for me to tell my principal if I was going to stay or if I was going to go. And I had to tell her I was going to go because God didn't open the door for me. And I at that time, I created and published my very first planner. Oh, wow. So I had those, but I'm sitting here boo-hoo crying to God, like, God, what am I going to do? Me and my baby, we can't be homeless. Like because all of these thoughts start coming through your mind. I got this new baby. You the one told me to keep this baby. Right. And now I ain't got nothing to take care of it. I have no resources to take care of this child with. And I remember God telling me to trust him. And so it started off small. It started with my planner, and then it just kind of grew over the years. It's been almost 4 or 5 years now. Oh, wow. Yeah. Congratulations. Full time, no, 19. 18, no, 4 years. Yeah. 4 years. 4 years, because he's about to be 5. So 4 years now, and so it's been a good journey. But that's how I kind of got there, piece by piece. And so sometimes we see in part, we know in part, right? So a lot of times we have a piece of the vision, we don't really know the full thing, and so we get clarity with movement. So as I moved and worked the vision, as I moved and worked what God gave me, it kind of grew into what it is today.
That's awesome. That is incredible. Who would you say inspires you?
Who inspires me? I inspire myself. Dr. Cindy Trim.
Tell me about it.
About her?
Yeah, how does she inspire you?
I mean, you don't know who she is?
I don't.
That's why you asked me that. That's why you asked me that. So she is a woman of God. She's also a entrepreneur. She's been an entrepreneur since she was a young child, right? And a lot of her story, I resonate with it, right? I see myself in her.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of young people in here. What would be your advice to the young entrepreneurs that maybe has a business or don't have a business and trying to get their foot in the door?
Okay, so first determine. So I'm a strong believer that everybody should have a side hustle. Everybody should have a side hustle. Not everybody should be in business. So first you need to determine what is your purpose. What are you here for? Right? Because the thing that you're here for may not be to be in business, but it may be to serve somebody, right? But that doesn't mean you can't hustle and get that money, right? Yeah. But the my piece of advice would be to discover yourself before you discover a brand.
I like it. Goodness gracious. Any other advice that you have for young entrepreneurs?
Young entrepreneurs.
Or any entrepreneurs, anyone that, is struggling with business and struggling. They know that they know their vision, but they don't know how to get there. They don't know what path to take. They're just lost because you got this person saying this, you got this person saying this, and just maybe a word of inspiration that will kind of open that door. Maybe you can open the door for them.
So maybe not a word of inspiration, but maybe some development, right?
Okay.
And so a lot of times when we have to think about vision and where vision derives from, right? So it comes from the Father, right? But it also comes from us seeing other things, right? And it makes me think about a story in Genesis where they were, who was it? Why is my mind going blank right now, Lord? Anyway, it's Genesis 26. Y'all could go read it yourself. It's 26 or 28. And he went in and he had the two sisters. Who was that had the two sisters? No Bible scholars in here. Anyway, he had the two sisters, right? He first went with Leah, and then he went with Rachel, and then they were trying to get from under their father, right? And he was trying to get from under their father, and God had gave him instruction on how to get from under. I'm going somewhere with this, y'all. Gave him instruction on how to get from under there, like how to build his wealth, right? And so he gave him all of these cattle, and these cattle, they weren't any good. So he couldn't build wealth with these lame cattle that he had. And so God gave him instruction on go and put like the spot and the speckles and all of these things in front of your father-in-law's cattle, right? And when he did that, their coat changed, right? And so whatever the cattle was seeing changed their physical state of their coat, right? And so a lot of times what happens is when we're on social media and we're strolling and we're looking and we're on people's pages, what happens is a piece of them gets in us. And we think that it's our vision when no, that's somebody else's stuff. That's what somebody else labored for. That's what somebody else's purpose is. And so a lot of times it takes you sitting in a very quiet place. People talk about, oh, God this and God that, but did you really sit in his presence? Did you really sit there and say, God, show me why am I still breathing? Why am I here? Did I allow what I'm seeing in my eye gate to transform the thing that I'm really called to do? And so that's my advice is to unplug from social media, unplug from things that can impress upon your vision and impress upon your mind or the direction in which you should go. And you should really, really take the time and saying, okay, what am I good at? Before people start telling me what I was good at, before people start telling me, what to be and who to be, what was it that I really liked? And then God will literally start giving you downloads. Every product that I created, I got in prayer. Oh, and it ain't nothing like it on the market. Like, where do you see a coaching in the box? Right. Where somebody had literally put themselves in a box for people to experience them. No, because we're always told to go outside, get outside the box. Right. So when I got that in prayer. What black woman that they exist, but what black woman that has an app in the app store? I got that in prayer. Do you understand? And so being in a place where you can hear God speak to you and give you strategic instructions that'll really catapult what's on the inside of you instead of just like, okay, I like that. Okay, yep, I'm gonna try that out. Okay, let's see how that go. And that's what people do. Mm-hmm. Right? And so tapping into your own genius.
I like that. So I want you to talk more about your planner and talk more about your app. And congratulations on that. I saw your launch and everything. Yay. So talk more about it.
Okay, so my app was, y'all, it was so scary doing it because I don't know anything about technology, right? I build brands, but that's Photoshop and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about
completely
coding now,
different.
right?
Right.
And so I remember praying for maybe 6 months, and it took me a whole year to develop it, right? Y'all, it does not take that long to develop an app. Now that I've learned the process, it literally only takes 60 to 90 days. But it was delayed for me because of the lessons that I had to learn on that process. But anyway, it was created for moms, it was created for entrepreneurs, and it was created for us to live strategically, right? Sometimes we're living all over the place and there's no, I remember somebody asked about balance. Balance don't exist, but harmony does. And so because when you think about balance, you're thinking about something being on a scale, right? And you're saying, okay, my life with my family and my business, they weigh the same thing. They don't. Your family outweighs your business, so it will never be balanced. But what we want to find is harmony in our life, right? And so when you start living strategically, you then find harmony, right? And so what does that look like? Looking at, okay, developing different areas of your life. So in the app, I hope you develop mind, business, and spirit, right? Because I believe if you master those things, then you can see some things flowing, right? It's like a symphony listening to a song. And you're like, oh, now you're reflecting and looking at your life. You're like, God, you did that. Everything's just flowing, not saying that you won't meet something that's going to stop that flow, but you know how to get up out of it. But anyway, the app has different areas in it where you have the planning part. So I took the planner and put it in the app, right? And so you have a section in there where you can create your vision. You have a section in there where you can create real action plans in there. You have a section in there where you can have positive self-talk, right? You have sections in there where you can actually be strategic with your time every hour of the day. How are you holding yourself accountable for what you're doing with your time? And I think a lot of us waste a lot of time. And then we look at the end of the year and you're like, oh, I didn't get a lot done. No, you just wasted your time, right? And so, and then it has another portion in the app where I have experts come on and they teach you in one of those 3 categories, mind, business, or spirit. And so I have lawyers on there, I have pastors on there, I have entrepreneurs on there, 6-figure earners on there, millionaires on there, right? And they're teaching you a certain skill or things to just help you just become a better individual and to live strategically.
That is awesome. Are you able to get the planner separate from the app?
Oh, yeah. So I have it downstairs at my table. Oh, really? It's $25, but it's the exact same thing. It's set up the exact same way. The only difference is in the planner, it has you doing mind work because I'm huge on mindset. It's a scripture that says, so a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Wherever your mind goes, you follow. Your life follow, right? And so it has like mind work for you to like get out of a fixed mindset into a growth mindset. And so the physical planner has that.
I like that. So the app doesn't have that portion?
No, it doesn't, but it does have people actually teaching you that in the app.
That's
yes.
even better.
Right.
So tell them, where can they find the app? Where is it?
So you can go to your Apple store or your Android Play store and you can just download it. It just type in Strategic Living, it'll pop right up. Just don't download it. Also subscribe.
Now, is there a cost? Like, do you have levels to the app?
It is levels to the app. So you download it, you create your account, it's free, right? The way that you get everything else open up to you is through the subscription, and it's only $14.99 a month. And so you can't really beat that because we spend that like on fast food every day versus me being in a position to be developed by all of these experts that I wouldn't have access to on a regular basis for only $15 a month. Like, come on, that's insane. That's God.
Right. You definitely can't beat that. Does anyone in the audience have any other questions that y'all would like to ask our beautiful Khadija? Yes, Kevin.
I have a question. So, the person you are now, what's the one advice you would go back and give the younger version of you?
Oh, I like that question.
Find God sooner. Find God. I'm so serious. Like, so, my background, so my dad, I'm Guyanese, right? So my dad, he came here, he's a Muslim, right? And then my mom, she's American, Bahamian, and she just believed whatever. One of them Christians that just go to church, for a breakthrough, and then she lived, whatever life. And just being able to find him at a younger age, I just feel like I would be further than what I am although God knows no time and he can speed us up, I just wish, because some of the mistakes that I made, I probably wouldn't have made them if I knew him.
Awesome.
Do you think those mistakes maybe have helped you be the person?
Oh yeah, girl, I wouldn't take none of them back.
Yeah.
It made me who I am, right? I wouldn't be Khadija Romney without all of those pitfalls, but I really wish I would have knew them sooner, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Any other? Yes, Kira?
So a lot of words mean different to everybody. Like, for example, bars, it means different to somebody. So, like, what does, for example, success mean to you?
Success to me is me accomplishing that which I desire to accomplish, right? So the very first time I experienced success, because I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but I didn't think it was going to be under the conditions that it was under. And so I felt really successful doing that because I was able to raise my son. I didn't have to send him to daycare. My kid is 4 years old, and he literally just tested on the first grade level. That, I'm successful. So success is whatever thing that you want to accomplish, that you do that thing, right? And that you are happy that you accomplished that, not the standard of anybody else. And so whatever I feel like accomplishing next year, if I do it, I'm successful.
I like that. That was that is
That was a good
that was good. Because people always see success as money.
Money,
So it's nice
no,
that
money
you
is
determine what
temporal.
Exactly.
Yeah, that thing come and go. Let me tell you something. Last year I made 6 figures. I was miserable, depressed. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Depressed. Literally, I'm on vacation in Madrid. And I'm literally stuck in the hotel room because I couldn't find the strength to get, because my mind is, do you understand, in a dark place. Right. Money is not everything. Peace, ooh-wee. A mind that's your own, that's not tormented by thoughts, ideas, what other people think. That's everything. Right. Money, man, that stuff come and go.
Right.
It comes and goes. You have seasons, and it's all for a particular thing, right? Last year I had that amount of money because I needed to do what I did with it then, right? And so it's not everything. Success is not money. And if folks think that, they need to rethink why they are getting into entrepreneurship. Remember, when you have a business, it's to solve a problem, right? And if you aren't solving people's problem legit, right? You ain't got no track record. You ain't got no testimonials. You don't have no social proof of you solving these folks' problem. Then what are you in business for? Right. It can't be for the money. You have to have an anchor, something that's going to keep you there even when the money leaves.
Right.
And so that's how you know that the difference between a hustler and an entrepreneur, a business owner, because they like, nah, I was made for this. I was built for this thing. Ain't no money gonna take me out of this. I got a problem in the earth realm to solve, baby. Right. And so, yeah.
So I do have another question. So about people who want to get into motivational speaking, because it's one thing I want to get into. What would be your advice to someone who wants to start speaking publicly? Because a lot of people have a fear of that, even myself.
I did too.
Yeah. But you do it so well.
No, look, God, when I tell you, like, I know y'all, I say God a lot, is because he is like literally the God of my life, like he guides me. And so in 2010, when I got saved, y'all, I could not speak in front of a crowd. I remember being in college, and we had to do like these impromptu speeches, right? And they gave me my thing. It was dope. Because I'm a good writer, right? So in order to be a good speaker, you have to be a good writer too, so they say. I don't know how true that is, but whatever. But I remember breaking down, crying in front of my peers. I couldn't get the words. I had speech anxiety and I didn't even know it. Oh, I could not speak in front of a crowd, at all. Oh. But now, but the enemy attacks at a young age the thing in which you're to dominate in, right? And so he attacked that at a very young age, but it didn't show up until college, right? And so now here I am, this teenager in front of the class, and I ain't never go back to that class, okay? I was embarrassed. I never went back. Imagine you crying. You 19 years old, standing up in front of a room of people, and then you just break down and see it. Come on. And so I never went back. I dropped the class, and but yeah, over the years, God started forcing me in situations where I had to speak. And it ended up that stronghold ended up being broken and I was able to flow in that thing. But for someone who wants to get in that field, find out what story do you have that people want to hear?
Makes sense.
What is the thing that folks can resonate with that you got? Just like in business.
Right.
I mean, 'cause that's what it would be, right?
Right. Do we have any other questions for me? Yes, ma'am.
What are some like resources or things that like entrepreneurs can look at or use to help kind of?
Oh, baby, that's easy. My app. Just download my app. You have all of these professionals on there teaching you in mind, business, and spirit. Right? People teaching you on how to build your brand. People teaching you on marketing. Lawyers. How many of y'all can go and afford to sit with a lawyer for a whole hour? You got a lawyer that you could get for $15 a month on there telling you how to protect your brand. And so that is definitely a resource. I know a lot of cities and things like that have organizations. If you go to the Urban League, they have resources there for entrepreneurs. Last year, they had a program that I was kind of like on the, I don't want to say commit, like I was a partner with them where they were helping entrepreneurs get like branding, their finances in order, coaching and things like that. So looking within your community to see what's being offered, and they gave that to them for free. And so, I was one of the people that built their brand for them because they partnered with me, And so partnership don't always mean free, y'all. So remember that when you go into business.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, ask me all the questions, baby. I'm here for it.
So I was always shy when I was younger. I used to have like a really, I guess, okay Instagram, but then something ended up happening, I lose all my photos. So then I kind of just went off of social media period and didn't have anything. But then I with my mommy, of course, my mom, I thought I would be out there just like she is, And so the one way I went to do that was on social media. And so I'm trying to figure out how do I grow organically, how can I grow?
So I do different things to grow my social media. Like I'm actually gonna do it right now. So you can watch that strategy in a minute. Being engaging with your audience, like folks literally like just share my stuff and people just follow. Like you gotta get on there, go on live, talk to them people. Sometimes that don't work. Followers don't equal money. So you gotta think about, why do you want these followers, right? Sometimes I don't be wanting people following me because y'all ain't spending no money anyway, right? And so you gotta think about that. And then like perfect example, like it's so many of my friends that are millionaires in six figures and they don't have over 10K followers. Like word of mouth. Social media is big. Don't get me wrong. If you know how to maneuver social media, it is great for you. But word of mouth is the highest marketing tool here today. There are companies that are million and billion-dollar companies that you don't know of because all people are doing is, hey, they did me right. Come. And now that person that you're referring don't have to go through the process of know, liking, and trusting me before they buy from me because you referred them to me. And because they know, like, and trust you, they come in ready to spend their money with me. You understand? And so that's why word of mouth. And so creating a system. Now we're talking about like being able to increase this word of mouth, right? So you create a system with these people that are referring the most people to you and you call them your partners. Remember I said partners ain't always free. So you're going to give them an incentive to, hey girl, you know what? You've been referring 5 people a week to me and 3 of them pay. What if you like to partner with me? Right? And now we're partnering, and after every person you refer me, I now shoot you something in your Cash App. Or we can get on an automated system and I can give you my affiliate link. Do you understand how that works now? Yeah. And so I'm telling you, word of mouth is the way to go. Like my coach, like nobody knew this guy. Like literally off of word of mouth, this man just blew up. He was already a multimillionaire. But because of word of mouth, because of all of these people experiencing him and telling his testimony, now he's this sought out. I mean, he's been this sought after person, but now it's bigger on social media. And so just think about why you want the following, right? What is the purpose of it? Is it for popularity, or do you really want to engage with them in shift their life. So if the goal is to shift their life, it doesn't matter how many people. Whenever I go on live, I say, y'all, all I need is one of y'all to come on here. All I need is one. Because guess what? When that one come on, by the end of the day, I got like 1,000 people that didn't watch the video. Do you understand? But when your commitment is to changing that one person's life, all that other stuff, it comes. But I ain't no social media expert, but I'm a branding girl. I'll make your brand reflect where you want to go.
Right. Yes, love.
Hey, when you were starting out, did you have like a routine, something that you did to kind of motivate yourself along?
I did. A lot of people don't have routines because they lack discipline. But I had a routine, and so my routine started at 6 a.m. Right, and so I would get up every day, and before I touched anything, I would get on my knees. That was just my thing, right? People can create their own thing, but you have to have something that you're doing perpetually every day, right? And so, I would block off my time. So I was an avid user of my own planner, and so I would block off my times, or 6 a.m. to 7. This is what I'm doing. From 8 to 9, this is what I'm doing, and I was committed to that. I was committed to from 12 to 2, I'm with my son teaching him this. Like, I was committed to a schedule. It was a discipline for me. It was like, yeah. And so I think routines is where success is found. For real.
How long did it take you to like just do the routine without having to look? Because I tried a routine and I would find myself just getting so distracted with other stuff.
You put alarms on your phone for every time you had something new to do?
I did, and it drove me crazy.
It took me, I don't know how long it took me actually, because we're talking about years ago.
Yeah.
I couldn't answer that. Truthfully, I couldn't answer that. But just to spectate it, maybe 6 months, I don't know.
Okay. For 6 months is fair. Any other questions?
Y'all asked me about branding something. I got all the juice over here and I'm giving it for free.
I want to know about branding.
Yes.
Like what is it that you do with the branding? Like how did you get into branding?
Okay, so I got into branding because I when somebody spends money with me, and I'm still like this, I got to say this before I say what I'm going to say, because that's the reason I got into branding.
Yeah.
So when people spend money with me, they're not just funding my business. There's 3 other families that they're feeding, right? There's 3 other businesses that they're helping, right? When they come and get their brand done with me, right? And so I was on the reverse side of that where, no, it was the same thing. I was outsourcing some work, trying to, delegate, right? And help other entrepreneurs. And one girl, she didn't, at that time I was working with authors and I was helping build authors' brands and getting their books published and things like that. And she never got the book cover back to me.
Oh, wow.
And so I couldn't go back. I didn't include in her budget any, mishaps.
Right.
And so I'm like, dang, man. And I don't know what to do because it was a lot for this book cover. Like, it wasn't cheap. It was like almost $200-something. Like, I ain't gonna pay $200 my pocket for this. I think I need to go in here and try to figure out how to do this myself. And so I had knew a little bit about graphics. I didn't know that much. I had took a few courses and I went in and I created her book cover. I created like 3 different designs and I said, hey, do you like it? And she said, oh, girl, I love it. She was like, this was better than the first, because the very first person who did it, she did a mock-up, but she never went back to revise what the client wanted. She just ghosted me. And so she loved what I gave her, and that boosted my confidence. I'm like, oh, I'm creating the book covers now. I'm not outsourcing this. And so and that's how I got started in it, because I was already doing like their websites for them and building their brand and stuff like that. I'm going to go back and find the very first brand. I'm going to do a then and now, how they do that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to post it on social media because baby, the way that I started out is not who I am now. And so, but yeah, I got into branding that way. And then it kind of all just meshed together because my purpose was always to help people become better, right? If it was in their business, if it was their mind or their spirit. And then for me to be able to entwine all of it together and say, hey, let me build a brand that reflects who you are and who you are going to be, and also help you make money, right? And so, yeah.
What all do you do with the branding? Websites? What else do you do?
So I help them create a brand identity, right? So a lot of times when people think about branding, they're thinking about logos, they're thinking about color schemes and stuff. It's way deeper than that. Your brand is your promise to the consumer. And so whatever you trying to promise, if you don't know your promise to the consumer, you can't work with me, right? Because I have to be able to make that come alive digitally. And so that's what I do. I find out what is your promise to the consumer. I find out, what problem is it that you're solving on top of your promise to them. And then I make that like be highlighted digitally, right? And it's a wonderful experience. And so, yes, I do everything from their brand identity, their websites. Before we even do a website, sometimes we need to do a branding photo shoot, right? So when people look at you, they know exactly what you do. And then we get into the websites. We get into the social media marketing and what tools you'll need to be successful in that. I do have a segment of the business where I outsource to someone where they manage folks' social media accounts if they want it done. I also print, all their marketing material, right? That's created, their banners, their, flyers, their business, all of that. And so, so we're a full branding agency.
That's awesome. Awesome. I did have a question, but Lord, I just had a brain fart. Any other questions? While I'm thinking of my last question, because I know she has other things to do. So, anybody else have any other questions? No? Okay.
How do you help people like narrow it down? Like if they come to you and they're like, I got this and this, how do you like help them narrow it down to like
tune in to one.
So I ask them a series of questions just to figure it out. Like, why are you doing all of these things? And what is your connection to all of these things, right? And then so once they start telling me the story behind each one, then I ask them questions about themselves, right? Well, what do you think your purpose is? What is it that you really like to do? And then I start asking them like about their education and background like that. And then that way I can see, okay, no, somebody taught you this. No, this is something that you were created for. And then after I tell them what I think they should do, I have this real good, I don't know, how you have an innate feeling about what's like something, like I have that. And so when people are telling me things, I'm like, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be doing this, and you can do it like this, this, and this, and you can make this, this, and this, and and it just all comes out. And then so now, once I give them my synopsis of what they should be doing from all of these businesses that they have, if they can't be merged together, I tell them to go and pray. Go and pray and see what I told you, if that's the path for your life. Because in the end, the Bible says, many plans are in a man's heart, but it's the plan of the Lord that will prevail. So no matter what I tell you, you can start doing that thing and it's going to collapse because it's not God's plan for you anyway. Right. And so, yeah.
So I heard, I know when I met you at another kind of a speaking event like this, I want to say it was you that had said something about colors, like the importance of choosing colors for your business. And I didn't know about that until after I chose the colors of my business. And then once I chose the colors, it was like, oh my God, my colors make sense. So what would be your advice when choosing colors for your logo and choosing colors for your business?
And so I tell everybody to go on a self-discovery journey. And I have this whole course and lesson that I take my clients through when building a brand, because the core of who you are is going to come out in your brand. The reason I say that is because every color represents something. It should represent your core values, not your favorite color, not your grandma's favorite color. It should represent the core of who you are. But how are you to know the core of who you are if you don't go on a self-discovery journey, right? And so that's the basis of creating this brand identity, right? Knowing first who you are at the core, and then from there, okay, what words are like your top words? Like what words are your top core values, right? For me, I'm huge on integrity and communication, right? And so if you're going to translate that into your brand, now there's colors that correlate with those words. And then we build a brand identity off of that. And so brand identity is more than just colors. It's your mission, it's your vision, it's all of that.
Awesome. And then this is my last question. How can they book an appointment? So if someone wants to go ahead and get into branding and they want you to help them with their websites, logos, graphic design, how can they book with you? And is there a fee to book with you?
to talk about it.
Yeah, to like, you know, some people, they have conversations, they'll do like this for this amount, and if you want this and all this, then it's more. So if someone wants to schedule a time to talk to you, to talk about their brand and what they're needing for their company, how would they schedule that with you? How can they find
Okay,
you?
so they usually just hit me up on social media, but you go to my website. You go to blueprintbrandingagency.com.
Say it one
And
time.
so blueprintbrandingagency.com, and you'll find all of my packages there. Usually I send people to my website first before I even talk to them, because when they see my pricing, it'll either freak them out or make them want to do it. And then there's no point in me talking to you if I'm outside of your price range anyway, right? If you're not ready for that type of investment, because I'm not just throwing something together for you. I'm creating something that's going to grow with you and it's going to help attract the right audience to you, right? And so, yeah.
All right. Well, I definitely appreciate you. Does anybody have any last questions before we go?
Yes.
We're moving the questions downstairs, we can.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we're gonna move our
Okay.
questions downstairs.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and you were amazing.